cold lava flows, known as lahar, have flooded the rivers and canals of nearby villages, with many locals ignoring warnings to steer clear. Videos from the scene show as lahar surges down the mountainside, pouring from the summit and rushing down main roads and into homes. Read more. Hindu man bathes in cold lava flow in religious cleansing ritual. Photos and extraordinary photos show the masses of volcanic sludge surging through riverbeds as locals film the terrifying scenes. The thick gray mud has a concrete-like consistency, with flows building up as much speed as a fast-flowing river clocked at up to 50 kilometers per hour. And the sludge can be deadly. About 24,000 people were smothered by a lahar from Colombia's highest volcano, the Nevada del Ruiz, on November 13, 1985, traveling at up to 50 kilometers per hour. A series of hot lahars raced down river valleys to cover Chinchina village in the town of Armero within hours of the mountain's eruption. Back in Bali, experts warn the hazardous mud flows could breach a gong exclusion zone, according to an expert in volcanology. Professor Joachim Gutzman, head of volcanology at Bristol University, told Express.co.uk, lahars can perhaps be best described as being similar to very wet concrete. Reuters. Getty. Lahar from the Bali volcano surges down to the summit. Getty. Extraordinary photos show the masses of volcanic sludge surging through riverbeds. They are devastating because they are fast-moving and erosive due to their volcanic debris load. They can also travel very far. Examples in the Andes report a 400 kilometers run-out distance from the source, hence populations along rivers which are usually fed from water from a volcano are at risk from lahars even if they are well outside an immediate exclusion zone, and Indonesia's disaster mitigation agency BNPB spokesman also said, "Watch out for lahar floods around Mount Agung." Lahar floods have already occurred in several places on the slopes. Flows of volcanic mud continue to pour Agung slopes, and Arculus warned more are possible since it's the rainy season. Wayne Lannis, who fled his village in Wonogiri with his wife and daughter, said they're not making a lot of noise. It's just suddenly coming like a flash flood out of nowhere. You do not want to be near them. Stay out of the valleys. Thursday, November 30, 2017. A plume of smoke above Mount Agung volcano is illuminated at sunset as seen from Amt Karangasem Regency, Bali. Watch out for lahar floods around Mount Agung. Lahar floods have already occurred in several places on the slopes. Indonesia's disaster mitigation agency. The agency's spokesman also urged people to avoid nearby river areas. Footage from shows the concrete-like substance sweeping into rivers, turning the waters black, also caused by thick ash clouds settling. Hundreds of flights have been cancelled over the past few days, but the local airport has now been reopened after some 120,000 tourists were left stranded on the island. Indonesian officials have ordered the evacuation of 100,000 people, but so far only about 40,000 people have left. Others have stayed in their homes because they feel safe or don't want to abandon their livestock. Authorities will comb the area to persuade them, he said. If needed, we will forcibly evacuate them. Reuters. Cold lava flows, known as lahar, have flooded the rivers and canals. Reuters. Experts warn the hazardous mud flows could breach a gong exclusion zone. Bali Airport, about 60 kilometers 37 miles from the volcano, was forced to close at the weekend after the ash plumes spread 74.7 miles high above the mountain. A report from local aviation navigation authorities showed that aircraft flight channels are covered with volcanic ash, Indonesia's transport ministry said in a statement. A total of 443 flights, both domestic and international, were affected by the closure by Tuesday. But airlines laid on extra flights to Bali on Thursday to allow some of the thousands of passengers stranded by the eruption of Mount Agung to fly out, as a switch in wind direction sent volcanic ash away from the Holiday Islands airport. Agung was partially shrouded by cloud on Thursday, with parts of Bali lashed by monsoon rain, but according to officials there were persistent tremors from the crater. AFP. Some 60,000 tourists are stranded in Balip Bali Airport, about 37 miles from the volcano, will remain closed for a second day while Bali's airport was opened again after a more than 2-day closure. The airport on neighboring Lombok Island was closed on Thursday due to ash from Agung, air traffic control provider Airnav said. Bali Airport's call center said 3 flights had left on Thursday morning, while 9 had arrived. Its website showed dozens of flights scheduled to fly to Singapore, Seoul, Perth and other cities. 2 Chinese state-owned airlines on Wednesday night sent flights to fetch more than 2,700 Chinese tourists from Bali, Xinhua news agency said. China Southern Airlines sent 2 planes from Guangzhou and Shenzhen, while China Eastern Airlines flew in 4 from Beijing and Shanghai, it said. Reuters lahar, thick gray mud, has a concrete-like consistency. Airlines are bracing for millions of dollars of lost revenue per day, are scrambling to minimize damage by offering travel to other destinations and alternative transport off the island. The lahar mudflow comes as Indonesia's Volcanology and Geological Disaster Mitigation Center also warned that an eruption of a size similar to that seen in 1963 could send rocks bigger than a fist flying a distance of up to 5 miles and volcanic gas a distance of 6 miles within 3 minutes. Monitoring has shown the northeastern part of Agung's Peak had swollen in recent weeks, indicating there is fairly strong pressure toward the surface, the center said. In the event of a major eruption, the impact on Bali's multi-billion-dollar tourism industry would depend on how much of the island is smothered in ash. David Pyle, a volcano expert at the University of Oxford in Britain, said what we are seeing at the moment are small explosions, throwing out hot gases and fragments of molten rock, or ash. Indonesia sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire and has more than 120 active volcanoes.